Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller. As chair of the board, I welcome you to this virtual August 17th, 2021 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our communications manager, Emily Kaiser, will now describe how our virtual meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Emily.
Thanks, Commissioner. So if you would like to make public comment during the public comment portion of this meeting, we will provide instructions and prompt you at the appropriate time in the agenda to virtually raise your hand. This can be done either through your computer or touch-tone phone. The chat feature on this Zoom meeting is available only as technical support for users on their computer or smartphone. If you're experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, please submit a comment in the chat feature and I will help you troubleshoot. If you're a member of the staff or the commission and are having computer issues, please contact the IT help desk and they can assist you. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded. A link to the video will be posted to wcroads.org in the coming days. Today's meeting agenda is also posted to wcroads.org, and there's a link available in the chat if you're joining us from your computer. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Emily. I will now call this meeting to order, and if Aaron would call the roll, please.
Chair Barb Fuller.
Present, participating remotely from Scioto Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Present, I am participating from Scioto Township, Washtenaw County.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Doug Fuller is present and is participating remotely from Scioto Township.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas has an excused absence today. So Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Present, participating remotely from Ypsilanti Township, Washtenaw County.
Managing Director Cheryl Siddle.
Present.
Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Here.
Director of Operations Jim Harmon.
Present.
County Highway Engineer Matt McDonald.
Oh, he's present. I just need to make him co-host.
Is that a wrap, Emily?
Yes, sorry. Matt's good now, but he is present.
I'm here.
Thanks, he was hiding.
We could see you, but we couldn't hear you. Next item, I would like us to observe a moment of silence for the 621,000 Americans and the 21,284 Michiganders who have perished because of the COVID-19 virus and the Delta variant of that disease. In addition, I'd like us to remember Kalamazoo County Sheriff Department member Deputy Ryan Proxmire. Ryan was recently shot and killed during a pursuit in the line of duty. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. It appears on pages 1 and 2 of the board packet.
Madam Chair, I motion that we approve the agenda for August 17th, 2021.
Support.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any additions, deletions, changes? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next item on our agenda is acceptance of the board meeting minutes of August 3rd, 2021. As presented, do I have a motion?
You do.
And
Support.
a second? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. I want to point out that one correction is being made to the minutes. Appears on page 3, the moment of silence. The number of Michiganders who have perished from COVID should read 21,173. That has been corrected. Aaron has taken care of that already. Are there any other corrections or changes? Hearing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next item on our agenda is public comment. This is the time set aside on our agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board, and Emily will now explain how people may be recognized to offer comments. Emily?
Thanks, Commissioner. So if you're viewing the meeting on your computer, you want to first make sure to click Join Audio, and then you can raise your hand by clicking the Participants or Reaction button at the bottom of your screen, and then the Raise Hands button. If you dialed into the meeting from your touch-tone phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. I will unmute participants with raised hands one at a time. I will announce your username or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments.
Are there any hands raised at this time, Emily?
At this time, Commissioner, I do not see any raised hands.
Thank you. We'll move on to written communications. They appear on pages 13 through 17 of the board packet. Were there any items commissioners wish to bring to our attention or remark about? Seeing none, we will pass by the response to public comment for which there were no comments. New business, we have a consent agenda appear on pages 18 through 34 of the board packet. May I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 1 through 7?
I would move the acceptance of the consent agenda items 1 through 7 as presented.
I support.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. We have no action items separate from the consent agenda today, so we will move right along into the reports. Do we have a county commissioner with us today? I see Commissioner Caroline Sanders is here from District 2. Commissioner Sanders, would you like to report to us? Have anything to share?
Good afternoon. It's actually District 4.
What
Chair.
did I say District 2?
You did.
Thank you for that correction.
It's okay. Let's start. I just want to share that I just finished my town halls. I did one on Thursday and then one on Saturday. Not planning on doing the third, but if I got responses back from my constituents, I would be open to doing a third related to the American Rescue funding. I'm excited to read through the information that I received from Mr. Pratt related to, I guess, a joint, a partnership with the Road Commission in terms of American Rescue funding. So I'm looking forward to being able to read through that and hopeful that it will be beneficial to both agencies and to our residents. So that's it. Glad to see you all today.
Glad to see you, Commissioner Sanders. And please know that we are available. Our Managing Director, Cheryl Siddle, would be pleased to answer any of your questions or explain anything that you might wonder about in those materials. But we really appreciate your attention paid to it, and we're hopeful of your support going forward on that item.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I believe Commissioner Sue Shink, District 2, is unable to join us due to a standing conflict that she has that she's told us about in the past. Anyone have questions of Commissioner Sanders? Hearing none, we'll move on to Road Commissioner reports. Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Doug did not bother to make a written report this week. I would, however, comment that as I've been driving around the county, as you all know I tend to do, I've been extremely pleased to see striping going down on our sealed roads. Been a long time coming because of the timing of getting the chip seal down, followed by the fog seal. There are roads that have been without their center line striping or their fog seal lines, or their fog lines, for some little time, longer than any of us would prefer, but that's now being addressed. So I was very happy to see that. Now, that would conclude my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Doug Fuller. Commissioner Rod Green.
Thank you. I have nothing to report this afternoon.
Thank you. Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes, on August 10th, I attended the Washtenaw County Parks and Rec meeting. And there is a contract award recommendation for Nelson Meade County Farm Park and Mary Lou Murray Recreation Center parking lots and Washtenaw Avenue paving projects background. And in February 2021, the staff presented the commission with a report on deteriorating conditions and capacity issues of the parking lots at Nelson Meade County Farm Park and the Mary Lou Murray Recreation Center. Reconstruction of the pathway along Washtenaw Avenue was also discussed in this presentation. The commission instructed staff to prepare construction plans and bid documents for these 3 improvement projects. Recommendation based upon the bids received, their experience and qualifications, timeline for executing the work, and performance on other projects with the county. It is my recommendation, it was the recommendation of the Washtenaw County Park to that Washtenaw County Commission award a service contract in the amount of $629,093.50 to Best Asphalt Incorporation from Romulus, Michigan for the parking lot and pathway paving projects at Nelson Meade County Farm Park and Mary Lou Murray Recreation Center, and include an additional 10% contingency for potential contract change orders. So this means that the parking lot at Mary Lou Murray Center is we're going to have 18 more spaces. And I'm not sure how many at the other site, but it's much needed and it looks very good. Thank you.
Commissioner McCullum, are they going to skinny up the existing spaces, or are they adding additional parking spaces on other land by Mary Lou and the Nelson Meade sites? Do you know?
They're adding more land. They would like to put in more than 18, but they can't. They just don't have the land for that.
Sure.
So they can only put in 18 more, and people are going to be encouraged to use the other walk to the other parking lot, that they're increasing that one too. So hopefully that will help satisfy a lot of the parking needs.
Very good. And I suspect during the pandemic, the use of both of those facilities has increased dramatically, especially the county farm park.
Yes.
Very popular. Any questions for Commissioner McCullum?
Joanne, yes, I do have a question. Did staff make a report to the commissioners about the status of the extension of the bicycle path along Huron River Drive, which has been held up for some time now by Amtrak's not deciding that they can go forward with their work? Did you guys hear any report about that?
I have to follow up on that. I'm not sure.
That's fine. I just wondered if they had reported to you during that meeting. So Amtrak cannot ever let people go ahead and do their work.
Oh, actually, Commissioner Doug Fuller, I believe that had been addressed, and that was in the project that we needed to consult with, Amtrak, because it's their area. Is that what you're talking about? Their land?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You can't work on Michigan State Railway stuff controlled by Amtrak until Amtrak says you may. So that cost us a year's delay on, oh, come on, Barb, tell me.
Dexter Chelsea Road,
No,
right? No, that one
No.
where we
Ford Boulevard
consolidated.
Bridge. Ford Boulevard Bridge.
well, that too. No,
Yeah, I remember that one.
Kavanaugh Lake Road. There we go. Is the one I was thinking
Oh,
of.
that one, that one.
Yeah, that one. That
That one.
cost us a whole year of construction season.
Yeah. I would have brought that up if they hadn't, but that, because I remember the Ford Boulevard one.
Yeah, the
yes,
Ford
that is-
Boulevard
that-
thing was,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
So yes, that is very much in the plans, in the forefront to address that, make sure that is taken care of before any work is done.
Anyway, thank you.
All set. Commissioner Green, did you have any questions for Commissioner McCollum?
No, I didn't. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. My report, on August 4th, I attended the virtual Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners meeting and alerted them the request for allocation of American Rescue Plan funds would be coming to them for a local road drainage and stormwater program proposal. If you want to take a look at that, we can remind ourselves that on August 3rd, this board passed a resolution in support of that allocation. On August 11th, there was a big storm event, as all of you are well aware, and I just want to commend our crew for the response to downed trees and help with traffic control due to downed power lines. On August 16th, yesterday, here at the Washtenaw County Road Commission, new COVID-19 protocols and work rules are in place in response to the increased COVID-19 cases associated with the highly contagious Delta variant. The managing director issued a very thorough and descriptive email on the 12th, early in the morning. I'm encouraging everyone to take a look at that, follow those guidelines, mask up once again, get vaccinated if you have not, watch for boosters if you have, and if you have questions about how to get a vaccine, where you might get a vaccine, check with our managing director or our human resources department. They would love to help you. I also want to thank Jim Harmon, Director of Operations, and Matt McDonnell, Director of Engineering, for providing copies of PowerPoint presentations in advance of today's working session. They were extremely helpful. I know it pushed the deadline for submitting that kind of material forward, but I found it very helpful and I appreciate your efforts. That's all I had. We shall move on now to the managing director and staff reports. Those begin on pages 35 and run through pages 47. Cheryl.
All right, just a couple of quick things, and then I do have a guest that I have asked to speak under manager's report as well. As the chair, Commissioner Barb Fuller referenced, right now we remain, unfortunately, all things COVID. We did put the mask mandate for indoor whenever you are indoors in place effective yesterday. We will continue to follow best practices wherever we can to follow the guidance that we receive from, whether it's MIOSHA, MCRISP, CDC, whatever assembly of letters might be out there that is assisting us at this time, so that we, again, continue to have best practices in place to keep our workforce safe. We're going into the winter season, as much as it hurts me to make that statement, and we really and truly need everybody to be as healthy as possible moving forward. On a lighter note, we have been able to continue with our Paint a Plow program this year. So over the summer, we reached out to to school in the area and have a total of 10 schools that have submitted applications and would like to participate in the program, as well as one senior center. So we are quite excited about that. And so we will be dropping those plows off once school starts up in the fall, which is actually, frankly, just in a couple of weeks, again, getting ready for that winter season. And we look forward to that. It's going to be a slightly abbreviated program than it has been in years past. We won't be able to have quite the same level of interaction with the students that we have had in the past, where we had them climbing in the trucks and we were able to do a full safety program, but we're still pleased that we'll be able to have this sort of abbreviated program, and they can see the equipment, and hopefully if we ever need to put on the front plows, they'll be able to see their plows going up and down the roads. So it's something that we thoroughly enjoy doing. We think the community enjoys it as well. So we're pretty excited to be able to carry that out. Commissioner Fuller, you have a question?
Are the wing plows involved as well? I noticed this morning when Jim was going through his equipment inventory and description, I just, I had all kinds of fun thoughts about what could go on.
You want to paint a wing plow?
Front yard and I'll get on it.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. I think right now we've been sticking to the front plows. They really are bigger and more impressive, but I don't know if we get to the point where if we could even do that with the wing plows. I think right now we're focused on the front plows.
Just the front plows at this point.
Yeah.
How many are there? How many front plows? Are there 26?
For the trucks, we've got over 50 front plows, and then for the graders, there's 1 or 2 for each one of those. So there's plenty of canvas for folks to paint. And I think the seniors are going to give those kindergartners a run for their money this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Chelsea painters too, right? I mean, there's a whole, Emily, I'll stop now.
Yeah, thank you.
We haven't had a lack of participation yet, so we're doing good. We'll let you know when we get to that, but we are excited, very excited. It is something, like I said, that we enjoy doing, as well as I think the community enjoys participating in as well. So, so last thing under my report is that I invited Mike Luck, he is our labor counsel, to join us today. We received communication from the Michigan Employment Relations Commission, MERC, and we're asked to participate in a conference call earlier this month. And I just thought it might be best if Mike provided a brief overview of exactly what was involved in that call, the decisions that need to be made by our staff, and how we will be moving forward. So Mike, if you wouldn't mind just giving a brief overview, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Good afternoon, commissioners and everyone else. You all look great on the screen. Always prefer seeing you in person. Cheryl's correct. A petition was filed by a rival labor organization to represent your driver unit. And it was filed within the time frame permitted by statute. There is an open period during which time they can file. There were no objections to the procedural part of that. And essentially what it does is it sets up a democratic election amongst the membership if in fact there's at least a showing of interest presented to MERC. What MERC does is get a list of eligibles as of, I think the date was July 23, reviews that list, determines whether or not there's at least 30% of the bargaining unit that has signed a showing of interest card. Now, a showing of interest card does not mean that's a ballot. It just means that people are interested enough to have an election conducted by the Michigan Employment Relations Commission to determine if there's going to be a change in representatives for the employees. I took the conference call on your behalf. As I recall, Nicole also participated in the conference call. Primarily, that's to establish the nature of the bargaining unit, which is who, if anyone, will be in the bargaining unit that's going to be represented by either labor organization or no labor organization. And so essentially what occurred there was simply a rubber stamp of the existing bargaining unit without change. So there was no objection from either party as to the makeup of the bargaining unit. Once that was accomplished, then what we did is we arrived at a sequence of events. First, of course, there has to be a consent to the election. which means that if there's a challenge, we'd have a full hearing. Neither party had a challenge to the election. And so a form was sent to me as your counsel to consent to the election with the various criteria that Merck had set forth as to the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how of how the election would be conducted. The notice of election form, if you will, and various postings are then sent to us to be carried out and placed in the locations throughout the county where the employees work, and that was done. That basically just indicates there is going to be election, what the purpose of the election is, what the potentials are on the ballot, and the ballot itself. I don't know if I can hold it up. Maybe you've seen a copy of these, but it looks like this. It's just a ballot. And on there are three choices. The first choice would be the existing representative. That's the Technical Professional and Office Workers Association, TPOAM. The second choice would be the Michigan Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council. And the third choice would be no union. So your employees will then receive a ballot, and it's done by mail now. We used to do on-site elections. That's rarely, if ever, carried out today, particularly in light of COVID and or the sequel to COVID. So the elections are conducted via mail. Our responsibility has been met, which is that we then send to the parties, including Merck, what's called an Excelsior's list. And that's an alphabetical list of names and addresses of all those employees in the respective bargaining unit who were eligible to be participants as of that July 23 date. So anyone after that is not eligible. Anyone that was not on the list is not eligible. So only those individuals are eligible to vote. So the unions and Merck all have that list in their hands, which would be the names and addresses of your employees in the bargaining unit. The next part that will happen then is those ballots will go out by mail, and they'll be mailed out on August 20. So that's just around the corner. And they have to be returned to the Michigan Employment Relations Commission no later than September 8. And then they will be counted the following day on September 9. Normally, as your counsel and representative, I will get notice from Merck probably that same day as to the results of the election. If not, it'll occur probably the very next morning. But I've dealt a lot with Denise Hinnenberg, who runs the elections for many, many years, and she's very prompt and very professional. And so I suspect we should probably no later than the 10th of September, which choices were made by the employee. Now, if there's a 50-50 split, they'll have a runoff. I have not had a 50-50 split in my tenure as counsel, so that's usually a rarity. If it does, then they've got provisions in Merck to handle the runoff. So at this point, we are in what's called the position of neutrality. And that's very critical. Critical that I know that Mr. Harmon and probably Nicole and anyone else who is in a position of supervision has to understand we take no sides in this debate. We maintain our position of neutrality. This is a decision to be made by the employees, and we will honor that decision, whatever it is, without retaliation, without our involvement. So that's the position we are in right now. There's no collective bargaining going on because now we have to wait to see who the agent's going to be. I will tell you there's a pending grievance that will go to arbitration probably, or maybe not, maybe it'll be withdrawn, but that it was advanced prior to this. Therefore, the ownership of that still is resting with the TPOAM. in my history, I have seen occasions where if a rival union wins, they will assume that case if they wish to take it to arbitration. I've also seen the reverse. No, it was under your watch, you pay for the arbitrator, you take care of it, you defend. So that will have to be something that's worked out as between the labor organizations, if in fact there's a change of leadership for your employees. But right now, there's only one of those pending. I have picked the arbitrator through what's called an alternate strike method, and I just did that yesterday. And so I did that with the TPOAM. So we don't have a date for hearing on that, and that's somewhere well down the road. So at this point, I think the best thing I can tell the board is that, you know, everything is on track to have the election. Once the election is finalized, then presumptively we'll get to the bargaining table with the exclusive bargaining representative and move forward to conclusion of the bargaining talks. So at this point, we can do nothing. We maintain status quo at this point. Are there any questions I can answer of any of the commissioners or anyone that's in attendance?
I have a question. I have a question, Mike.
Yes.
So let me be clear. All of us maintain a position of neutrality. We are aware that this is in motion, but we don't express an opinion one way or the other about what's going on, right?
Right. We have no, what I call, we don't have skin in the game as to which union is going to represent the employees.
And the entire, sorry, go ahead.
I'm done. Go ahead.
And that the entire election process is being handled by the Michigan
Employment Relations
Commission. The Washtenaw County Road Commission has nothing to do with it. We're not handling ballots. The only thing we did was provide a list of those employees eligible to vote, but we don't handle the ballots. We don't count the ballots, none of that, right?
That's absolutely right. The only other thing that we do is to carry out the request of Merck to post the notices of election with the sample ballot. All of that's done on our watch by us pursuant to the instruction from Merck.
Okay. And can you help me to understand, did I call it the Michigan State Police, that's not what you called it, but that's their.
It's the Fraternal Order of Police. Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council.
Okay. Did they, you said the petition was filed by a rival union. Does that mean?
That's the FOP.
There was no, the impetus for that didn't come from our employees? It came from a rival union?
Well, it certainly comes from someone going to the Fraternal Order of Police and saying, we'd like to have you represent us.
Okay.
Okay. That union then distributes showing of interest cards to employees.
Okay.
Then files its petition and presents to Merck a list of those, including the interest cards, if you will, which are then reviewed and counted. And then if there's a showing of interest, then they have a valid petition and the election gets arranged.
Okay.
And really, again, the showing of interest is simply that. We don't know whether or not it was a representative of the FOP that approached some of the employees of the road commission, or whether it was employees that approached the FOP.
Okay.
I don't have the FOP representing very many employees in road commissions. So it's an unusual, and of course the TPOAM really is a division of the Police Officers Association of Michigan, but they established a separate unit, the Technical Office and Professional Employees. So you can see that really what was occurring, I think, over time, as membership dropped in any one of the labor organizations, they were reaching out to find other groups to represent, to help buttress their economies, okay? And so I've seen that occurring across the state in various locations.
Fascinating. Does anyone else have questions for Mr. Cluck? Commissioners, staff? This has been really helpful. I appreciate your time, Mike. Cheryl,
Oh.
thank you for making arrangements for this.
Yeah, I figured that it was just easier to let Mike give that description than me. At the end of the day, Nicole understood what we needed to do as the employer. And other than that, position of neutrality, I'm good with that. So I think we can handle that moving forward. We're in good hands with Mike, as always. So I appreciate very much you coming today, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, commissioners, as always, for the delight of representing you. I greatly appreciate it very much. So have a great day. Stay healthy, and I'll look forward to seeing all of you again sometime in the future in person.
Very good.
Thank you, Mike.
You're
Thanks, Mike.
welcome. Thank you.
Back to you, Cheryl.
All right. Well, that concludes, unless anyone has any questions for me specifically, I'd be happy to hand it over to Jim. I know that we have been incredibly busy with storm cleanup in addition to a busy summer work program already. So I will let him share what the operations department has been up to.
Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, storm damage, a lot of downed trees from these recent events throughout the county. And as of yesterday, we've essentially completed the work, the cleanup. Most of it occurred immediately after the storms blew through here. In fact, Cheryl, you were commenting at the end of the day, watching all of our heavy equipment running out after that intense thunderstorm and all those winds had slammed through here. So very proud of the work. No one was harmed. Mission accomplished. Got the trees cleared and properly cleaned up. Some of the things are tied up in overhead wires, and so we have to defer to utility companies to deal with that for safety reasons. And they had their hands full. It's really been quite amazing the amount of resources they were able to marshal, even from outside of the United States. They had coworkers come from Canada to help, and from other states, under a tremendous amount of pressure by the public that really is depending on internet service and electrical energy for a variety of reasons. So we're pleased with the work that we did, and we felt it was timely and, again, injury-free. The staff report in your packet begins for operations on page 36 and continues through page 40. That covers the time span of July 26th through August 8th. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the information that's detailed in that. Okay, hearing none. I would like to point out Dennis Bussey has joined us again for our regular meeting. Dennis was able to join us this morning during the working session and our presentations, and it was just timely. He started his first day yesterday, and with these two meetings, again, we felt it was a great opportunity for him as part of his introduction and orientation, take full advantage of these proceedings to get better acquainted with all of us, all of you, and how the board conducts its business. A little bit about Dennis. He's a graduate of the University of Michigan, go blue. That got the desired response from my boss, and that's outstanding. His professional career begins back as stadium operations assistant for Coastal Federal Field back in 2006 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Then facilities manager assistant here in Ann Arbor, Fisher Stadium, the Alumni Field, and the Canham Natatorium. And then moved on, building supervisor for Yost Ice Arena. Then stadium operations supervisor for the Lugnuck Stadium in Lansing, and moved up to stadium operations manager and then director of stadium operations. And we all know what COVID did back in 2020 to many of our athletic facilities like that. He moved on most recently as chief engineer with the Courtyard by Marriott Lansing. It's one of the, as he informed me, one of the first hotels to be built in downtown Lansing in about 3 decades. So brand new facility. And he learned of the opportunity here at the Washtenaw County Road Commission, the diversity of our properties and facilities, and applied for this position. And we're just absolutely delighted, Dennis, that you've joined our team. And he and I have gotten busy right away in the last 48 hours. So welcome aboard, Dennis, and thank you for participating this afternoon. With that, some things that are going on, just a couple of highlights. Brassow Road between Ann Arbor Saline and Maple Road in Lodi Township. That's part of our Lodi Township agreement. And we talked about Lodi today. Cheryl brought up their millage and about $1 million investment. That's about quadruple what they typically expend on an annual basis. That millage is vitally important to the local road system in Lodi Township. Staff just finished overseeing the pulverization and resurfacing of Brassow Road. The top course paving was finished yesterday, and the pavement's getting marked out for pavement markings, and shoulders will go down probably Thursday. Just a little bit of restoration. We're really delighted with that project. Packard Road, that's a county millage job and complements what Matt and his staff just completed the federal aid portion to the west of Gulfside. This piece was milled and resurfaced and completed yesterday between Gulfside and the city of Ypsilanti. 5-lane roadway, major roadway, complementing again the federal aid investment. And so a significant portion of Packard Road in our urban area is now resurfaced and looks great. Pavement markings forthcoming. Gravel resurfacing, local road program, partnerships with Dexter, Linden, Sylvan, and Lima. Paul Schneider and his group finished the gravel resurfacing over this time frame in District 3, in the Chelsea area. Again, part of local road agreements that you blessed back in the spring with those township partners. Presently, District 1's working on limestone resurfacing on Scully Road in Webster Township. That's part of our agreement with Webster. And I think they got 1,500 tons down yesterday, and they'll probably well and away exceed that today. Down in Augusta Township, completed limestone resurfacing on Liss Road between Rossonville and Bunton, agreement with Augusta Township, and presently working on Tuttle Hill Road between Judd and Willis. So we've come up with some creative ways to use our limestone and gravel vendor contracts in order to do some concurrent stone hauls and take full advantage of the remaining construction season to meet all our obligations. With that, I am most happy to answer any questions you might have of me. Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Jim, did Augusta decide to do any improvements this year to Fuller Road down there?
They did not. It's one of many unfunded projects that I think are being deferred to next year. And we're hopeful to refresh those estimates, Doug, and come back to revisit that in the future.
It's fine. Going back to my, I don't know, third great uncle or something like that. That road has never been much more than a wagon track. So anyways, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks, Jim. And like Jim said, I was just very impressed with our staff. Wednesday afternoon, that storm blew through, and as the storm was trailing off, I watched all this equipment start going out of our yard. Everyone had just hopped into whatever piece of equipment they were assigned to, and away they went. And that's what we do. So it was very impressive to watch. Of course, the phones lit up at that point, and we could just take it all down, and it was like a well-oiled machine. The calls were all going out, but we were already out and about and taking care of business as we were watching that storm head off to the east. So kudos to all of our staff for everything that they did. That was a heavy lift, but they did it, and they did it well. Joanne?
Yes, I thank the person who put the number to call for the trees that fall in the road on Facebook, on the social media. I was able to put that on nextdoor.com, and right away several people picked it up and called that number. So that was really good. Thank you.
Excellent. Good. Anything that we can push that out there is super helpful.
I think it's important to recognize as well that our crews were helping with traffic control. I mean, out in my area, I stopped and chatted up one of our members he was blocking a road because there was a power line down. And it was wonderful to watch how he handled surly people who said, I've been trying to get through here. This is the fourth attempt I've made, and what road is open, and rah, rah. And he, he was patient. He got them to laugh. And it was just wonderful to see that in addition to doing great work on the roads, they're really good with people too. And again, it was one of those situations where disaster struck and everybody pitched in. Nobody said, not my job, your job. No, everybody just really pulled together and worked beautifully. I mean, I was really impressed. It was fun.
Yeah, they did. They did an awesome job. I was really proud of all of them. All right, Matt.
I'll piggyback on the storm event and just give kudos to our signal and sign group as well. As you can imagine, all the power outages wreaked havoc on our signal network. And in fact, one of our signals at Liberty and Wagner, the span wire snapped. It came crashing down to the pavement and completely was shorted out by a power surge, and the cabinet caught a blaze. So it is done. And unfortunately, Liberty at Wagner, 2 primary roads, busy intersection, is a 4-way stop and will be for several weeks. We'll be waiting on DTE to place some poles and to rebuild that signal. So unfortunately, there'll be some delays. Our sign foreman, Julie Nixon, was able to get the message boards out to notify public that we've got a 4-way stop ahead. And that's going to be for some time as we scramble to essentially order equipment and work with DT to restore that traffic signal. So just that heads up on that. As far as work goes, a lot of work taking place. We accomplished paving on Plymouth Road last week. Zeeb Road continues its paving efforts on the south end, as we're scheduled to place aggregate on the north end, and that one's moving along nicely. Getty's Road was closed, and the contractor is demoing the bridge just west of Ridge. Mass Road, we've got some good news. Thursday, we are scheduled to remove the temporary signals and remove the traffic control. We will be back. We have to wait for the concrete to cure for 28 days. And then the contractor will be back for an epoxy overlay of that deck. We have confirmed they do have enough material. There was a material shortage issue. So they will be back in 28 days to do that epoxy overlay. Obviously, we'll get word out. That'll be done under flight control, but at least now we'll restore the 2-way traffic on the bridge. Dennison. Yes.
Matt, what day are we going to reopen Mast?
Thursday.
Thursday. Cool. Thank you.
No problem. Dennison Road, we are planning, the contractor is scheduled to pave approaches next week, complete guardrail and paint. So hopefully, fingers crossed, open the traffic next week. Dennison Road, long-awaited new bridge there. And crews are working on Wired Road by the Will Run Airport. We do have a closure. Milling operation is finishing up today, and they removed a lot of the old deteriorated concrete pavement on the south end of the project. And so we're looking to do some patching and joint repairs before the 2 courses of asphalt get placed. So that's what I had on my report. Any questions on ongoing work?
Wired Road, roughly how many tons of asphalt are going to go in there new?
I'll have to get back to you on that. It's 2 courses and 2 different segments, because you got a northbound and a southbound, so several thousand tons for sure.
I think the answer is a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Good news, we're close to the plant.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't choose to run that out of Wagner Road, did they?
I hope not.
Especially now.
Get through that stop controlled intersection.
Mm-hmm.
For the record, our professional engineers have said a lot of asphalt.
It's like the official term for Liberty and Wagner is smoked.
Yes, yeah. Smoke, very good fun on words. I also want to thank the board for their patience on our asset management plan presentation this morning. A lot of good dialogue. I also was remiss in acknowledging Emily Kaiser's work on the draft document. I'm sure when you read it, you will see her fingerprints all over it. Great job on helping us communicate our story and also helping with the slides today as well. So thank you, Emily.
Great. Any questions for Matt? All right. Well, thank you, Matt. And as usual, last but not least, I should say batting cleanup, Dan. So that's a good thing, right?
Hopefully I can do a little better than Miguel Cabrera's been doing lately, but
hey, it's tonight. It's tonight.
Eventually he'll hit his 500th, right? I mean, you know, eventually.
But you're not, Dan, you're not getting paid $5 million a year to do this.
Yeah, I think he gets paid a couple $100,000 per at bat. Not bad. Anyway, as far as my report, if I can direct the board to page 15, I just want to talk a little bit about the McChrysip liability insurance refund. Took a bit of time to get the check to us, as Doug and Cheryl are aware of. But I did want to thank Doug. Doug is on the board of McChrysip, and all the board members for the $239,000 refund. So I've been doing some number crunching, as I like to do. And the 10-year average of refunds is about $228,000. And the 10-year average of payment for our premium is about $534,000. Basically, we're getting a refund about half of what we're paying each year, which is pretty darn good, I think. So I continue to be impressed by how well the McChrysip pool works and how well it's operated. And, you know, I think it serves the road commission well. So just wanted to share a little bit of that with everyone.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
Yes. Also, the finance department, we've been busy sending out a majority of the second township billings. So all those have been sent except for a few. And nice to get those out and then just wait for payments. The first township billings, very quick turnaround from all the townships. We certainly appreciate that. And we expect the same for the second round of billings. And as far as IT is concerned, we've been setting up SMARSH. If you recall, SMARSH is our FOIA software that we'll be utilizing to fully comply with the law. And Cheryl alluded to the fact that we will be capturing text messages, and we'll have that meeting tomorrow morning just to answer any questions. But you know, as Emily looked at FOIA compliance, text messages is part of what we need to provide if asked for. So this software will allow us to capture everything: text messages, emails, Teams messages, social media. It's pretty slick, and we'll definitely assist Emily and Aaron when we receive those requests in the future. I'm also happy to report everyone has completed their cybersecurity training, so appreciate it. Commissioner Green was very patient with us and made it through, and I think was fairly impressed with what he learned. And and the organization as a whole has been pleased with that. No one likes to go through training, but that one was a pretty good one. And it's Chris's goal, Chris Quinter's goal, to have new hires for the remainder of this year go through that training as well. So, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And certainly we will look at other training of that nature in the future. And then lastly, we met with our new managed service provider, NetSmart Plus. They're actually going to meet with us on a quarterly basis. So Chris Quinter and I met with them, and a very thorough sit down as far as any concerns that they may see with our IT infrastructure. A thorough inventory was compared with what they had and what the road commission showed, and there are a couple of things that they were trying to reconcile. There's some new projects potentially in the future they're going to help us with, and I was just thoroughly impressed with just the nature of the meeting. It was nice to sit down face to face, and you know, I really feel like you know, it was a good move for the organization, and you know, they got our best interests at heart. So it was a really great meeting, and like I said, it's going to be ongoing every quarter. And that's all I have unless there's any questions.
All right.
Thank
thanks,
you.
Dan. That's it from staff.
I'd just like to point out on page 42 of the packet, the communication report. We continue to have our Wednesday chat sessions from noon to 1. And I want to point out that of those listed, most of them have no attendees. July 14th and 21st, there were no attendees. The 28th, there was one person who called in. And then on August 4th and 11th, no attendees. But we continue to have those sessions scheduled. We staff them. There is a commissioner and 2 staff people there for that hour, regardless of whether anyone visits us or not. Tomorrow, Commissioner Green is on call for the chat session. And then August 25th is Commissioner Gloria Llamas. So just wanted to point out that we continue to have those regardless of whether people visit or not, we're available. And then on the recruitment report, which is on page 44, I know that our HR department is working very, very diligently to fill these open positions, but I just want to draw everyone's attention. Page 44, we've now got 10 full-time positions that are needing to be filled. 9 of those are heavy truck drivers. And while it's sunny and beautiful out there today, rain event, storm event accepting, winter's coming and we need those folks. So if there is any network contact that you can tap to encourage people to join our organization, please do that. And the billboard is pretty impressive. That one is always a distraction for me, but it'll be interesting to see if that yields any inquiries. Did anybody else have comments on any part of the rest of the staff report? And
I just want to say, I think the billboard is beautiful. I love it. And I think it's going to plant a really good seed for the road commission and give us more visual attention. And somewhere, you know, people are going to know we're here and think about joining the team. So I like it. I like everything that the staff is doing to help recruit people. Right now, it is a real big challenge to get people on staff, but they are doing such a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. I know that Nicole and Alicia and Emily are working just as hard as they possibly can. I'm glad. I do think that the billboard is pretty exciting when I take a look at it, but we are also open to suggestions. So any ideas that you might have, let us know if there's a way that we can push them out or make them, you know, reality. We would be more than happy to do that. So, but thank you. They are definitely working hard.
And the conversation I had in the middle of Austin Road with the gentleman out there, team member, I asked him, I said, so why are you with us? And he has had a number of other positions, some of which required a great deal of traveling. And he says, you know what? I've got 2 daughters. And this role with the road commission allows me to spend time with my daughters. The benefits are great. I love the people I work with. That's why I'm here. So to the extent that people can be encouraged, like Joanne says, to join the team, it's a wonderful crew to be a part of. And this guy actually took a pay cut to come to work with us because he decided that the quality of life with his family, his wife, his daughters, meant more to him than earning a 6-figure income and being on the road all the time. He said, I never had time to enjoy it. And I was failing to learn, or failing to get acquainted with my girls as they were growing up. So those are some of the intangible benefits of being a part of this organization. I don't know how we put that word out there, but I suspect that's a lot of why people come here and stay here. What else, Cheryl?
That's all we've got today. So I'm happy to
Okay.
hand that back over.
Okay. At this point, I did mention who's on call for the next 2 road commission chat sessions. Our next virtual board meeting takes place on September 7th at 1 o'clock. No working session that day. And at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support. Moved and seconded. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joya McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.